A possible DUI fatality just hours after a rally to end drunk driving. A man dies in a single vehicle collision, and a hunter mauled by a brown bear in northern Alaska was rescued over the weekend. Plus, Going Greek will tell you just how much fun it can be at this year's Greek Festival.
You're watching Fox 4 News at 9, KTBY Anchorage.
Well, thank you so much for watching. I'm Whitney Miller. It's Sunday, August 18th, and you're watching Fox 4 News at 9. We begin tonight with another tragic story. Just hours after APD held a rally to put an end to alcohol-related deaths, a man died in a single vehicle collision early Saturday morning. Police say speed and alcohol may have played a role in a crash that killed 34-year-old Stephen Kinney. According to reports, Kinney failed to negotiate a curve while driving 70 in a 30-mile-per-hour zone on Martin Luther King Avenue. Just before 3 a.m. Saturday, the pickup left the roadway and went over an embankment and through a wooden fence. Kinney's passenger, who was not seriously injured, told police both he and Kinney had been drinking at a party. Well, the Alaska Air National Guard rescued a hunter more than 36 hours after he was mauled by a brown bear. The man was a part of a guided hunting party 30 miles north of the village of Aniktuvik Pass. The Air Force Rescue Coordination Center learned of the mauling Thursday. Reports say a medical professional who happened to be in the nearby hunting party reached him and stemmed his blood loss. A search and rescue plane and helicopter reached the victim before 3 a.m. Friday. He was taken to Fairbanks Memorial Hospital. Well, Alaska's unemployment rates for the month of July are in, and state labor officials say in July the rate was 6.3%, up 0.3% from the rate in June. Nationally for July, the rate was 7.4%. Reports say summer jobs helped keep unemployment rates low throughout Alaska. In Bristol Bay and Skagway, the rates were below 2.5%. Well, officials say despite the hot and dry conditions this year may end up as a below-average wildfire season here in Alaska. Reports say that only 1.25 million acres have burned so far in 2013. The 10-year average is 1.4 million. Officials say rain in the forecast could help bring the fire season to an end. So far, there have only been 600 wildfires, and officials say a lack of large wildfires helped keep the acreage numbers low. Compared to the 2004 season, reports say there have been a lot less lightning strikes this year. Well, despite the rain, hundreds found out what it means to go Greek at the 19th annual Greek Festival. With the only Greek Orthodox church in the state, the community got the chance to tour the building, which is expected to be completed by 2014. And for those looking to jumpstart holiday shopping, there was a silent auction in the church basement. From the authentic Greek food to the live performances, the festival prides itself on sharing Greek culture with the last frontier.
We're doing a lot of dances this year from a lot of different islands. We actually have a new choreographer, I guess you could say. His name is Andrew, and he taught us like 2 or 3 new dances. So they're just kind of from all over, and they're really cute.
The festival wrapped up earlier this evening, so you may have to actually visit Greece or just wait till the next festival next year. Well, when we return, do you want to discover the inner dancer in you? Well, a new dance studio says they can do just that. Stay tuned.
You're watching Fox 4 News at 9, KTBY Anchorage.
Well, welcome back. A new dance studio opened their doors over the weekend, and they boast their willingness to get the community involved in dance. Studio Pulse held its grand opening Saturday. The studio is home to the Pulse Dance Company, and now the community. The studio offers a curriculum geared towards adult dancers of all skill levels. With professional-grade lighting and dance floors, the studio also offers fitness courses and workshops for jazz and hip-hop.
The great thing about our studio is that it's geared for adults, which there's no other studio in town that focuses primarily on adult dance education. So it's just this really exciting mishmash of fitness and artistic styles coming together in one building.
Well, joining us now in the studio is the owner of Studio Pulse, Stephanie Wanchala. Thanks so much, Stephanie, for joining us. So why studio, why now?
I'm a firm believer in there is no better time than now, and opening the studio was twofold. One, it fulfilled the need for a space to continue training and creating for my dance company, which is called Pulse Dance Company, and we're now in our 4th season. So we've been working out of various spaces, and we just needed a place that felt like our home. Secondly, it gives us an opportunity to share with the community, and there aren't many outlets for adults to go and get training for any level, from beginning to advanced. It's just a little lacking, and so the studio focuses just on adults and teens.
Definitely. So I was going to say, you boast about getting the beginner involved. How can Studio Pulse help somebody who doesn't have a dance background like myself?
Well, the wonderful thing is that because we have such a broad spectrum of classes, any level is welcome. And then there's also cross-training opportunities. So Pilates or yoga helps you build strength and gain flexibility. And then there's fun classes like Twerk After Work, which isn't necessarily a rigid ballet class, but more fun and gets you moving and gets you in the studio and gives you an opportunity to enjoy the space, meet the instructors, and see if maybe there's something else you might like.
So now this Twerk After Work, is that like Miley Cyrus twerking?
Oh. Unfortunately. Or fortunately, actually, no, it's not Miley Cyrus twerking. But it is twerking in the sense of we will be working on your glutes, your core strength, your thighs. Yeah, it's absolutely not for the weak of heart or hip. So if you prefer something a little more conservative, I'd recommend our ballet course offering.
Definitely. So how can people get involved if they want to join or if they want to take courses? Because it's a school as well.
Yes. All they have to do is visit studiopulseak.com, and we have our full list of course offerings and the fall schedule. Or even better, they just have to swing by our studio located right there on Lake Otis and Tudor. Look for the bright pink signs, and we'll be open Monday through Saturday. Just swing by and drop in.
Now, you said also that at the opening that it was your dream to have a studio. What was the dream? You said it was a dream to have a studio with a chandelier in it.
Yeah, ever since I was a little girl, I first walked into a dance studio at the age of 4, and I'll never forget, it was in a castle, and I had this giant chandelier, and that image never left. And that's what I wanted. You know, I wanted to find something with that kind of cultural richness, that sense of community. And so when I decided to create a studio, I wanted to emulate that feeling of, you know, that atmosphere that brings people together, feels warm, feels inviting, feels rich.
So there's a lounge in there as well, right? Tell us a little bit about the lounge. And I know you said there's a mural on the wall, and that's Alaskan.
Yes, absolutely. There's a mural painted by Laura Yaskell. She's a local tattoo artist, actually an artist with a lot of mediums, and she is very talented. It's really beautiful, and that is adjacent to the Dancers Lounge, which I wanted to create a space for people to come and not only, you know, hang out between classes or before classes, but also develop a sense of community, get to know other dancers in town. And so I think it was successful, and that it's very cozy and inviting.
Yeah, you had a lot of people out there on Saturday getting involved, and it's really pretty. Y'all need to check it out. And I mean, I'm not a dancer, but I mean, I know how to shake my groove thing a little bit. And
this is perfect for you.
I might have to check out that Twerk After Work.
Perfect.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to tell you a little bit about more of your weather and your week ahead.
You're watching Fox 4 News at 9, KTBY Anchorage.
Well, welcome back. It's now time for you to find out what your week could bring weather-wise. So here we go. Let's take a look at your current temps across the state. In Anchorage, 61 degrees. Barrow, it's 39. Or 60 degrees, Barrow, 38 now. Fairbanks, 69. Down in Ketchikan, it's 56 degrees. Or 55 degrees, and 54 in Onalaska. Your south central radar shows some activity. Moving south, passing over Palmer and Anchorage, even down in Homer. And we saw some of that activity across the state today. Depending on where you were, our Anchorage cam shows you a look at downtown. Light showers scattered throughout the day. Right now in Anchorage, it's cloudy, 61 degrees. Or 60 now. All my temperatures are changing. 60 degrees with the humidity at 69%. And it feels not very different with the wind chill at 58 degrees. This day in 1978, Anchorage experienced a high of 61 degrees and the record was 74, but we are not quite there today. We're down to 18 hours and 48 minutes of daylight for those of you who are keeping track of this. We're losing the summer, so if you wanted to know, 18 hours right now. The satellite and radar shows that same system moving southeast in south central Alaska, and you can see more activity forming in the northwest. So Anchorage, here's what you want to know, your 5-day forecast. Monday, raining with a high of 61 degrees. Tuesday, the same. Wednesday, still a chance for rain and a high of 60 degrees. Thursday, partly cloudy, still in the 60s, and Friday, No sun for us. Cloudy high of 61. Fairbanks, rain is in your forecast. Rain is in your forecast tomorrow through Wednesday. Temps in the 60s. On Thursday, partly cloudy, a high of 60 degrees, and Friday, a high of 63. Juneau, let's see what you're talking about right now. You're cloudy and a high of 59 degrees. Tuesday, a chance of rain. Wednesday, 57 degrees. On Thursday, a chance for some more rain and temperatures in the 50s through Friday. Statewide, you can see there is a lot of rain across the state. 61 in Anchorage and Bethel. 59. In Nome, it looks like 59, 61 in Bethel, 59 in Unalaska, 55 in Cold Bay, 66 Fairbanks, 60 in Kodiak, 59 in Juneau, and 61 in Unalakleet. And that's your weather for you. Well, when we return, if you missed it, this week we have your top headlines coming up next.
You're watching Fox 4 News at 9, KTBY Anchorage.
Well, welcome back. In case you missed it, here's a look at some of this week's headlines. The Anchorage Police Department held a rally Friday at West High School to recognize local victims and families affected by the recent rise in deadly DUI crashes throughout the city. Take a look. The city of Anchorage went an entire year without an alcohol-related fatality, but just in the last 2 months, we've experienced 4. APD unveiled these new photo magnets that depict recent victims, and they say putting a face to the tragedy makes it more powerful. Frames with the faces of this summer's 4 victims sat on stage as presenters spoke to the community. Officials say it's time to take a stand and work together to create safer streets in Anchorage. Chief Mark Mew announced APD's latest plans to ramp up enforcement, and he wants citizens to be ready, report every dangerous driver immediately. He says those ready calls help law enforcement crack down on impaired drivers. So far this year, APD has made over 1,000 DUI-related arrests.
30 years and the drunk driving crashes are still going on. In the last 2 months, we've lost 4 more. Families are being torn apart and burying their loved ones because someone chose to drink and drive.
With the slogan "Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over," the Anchorage Police are participating in a national impaired driving crackdown. Between now and Labor Day, they'll be beefing up patrols in an effort to target those impaired drivers. Well, since that rally, a 5th alcohol-related crash occurred early Saturday morning in East Anchorage. Well, the Wasilla Planning Commission met Tuesday to approve a permit for the Matanuska Electric Association, known as MEA, to build transmission towers. Fox 4's Michelle White has that story.
The city of Wasilla and MEA have been in a standoff for more than 4 months. Some resolution may come tonight. At issue is MEA's request to build 80 to 100-foot high-voltage power lines from its plant in Eklutna to its Herning substation in Wasilla. To build them or to bury them is the question before the Planning Commission. This stretch along the north side of the park's highway is where MEA wants to build its transmission towers. Wasilla city planner says those towers would be a visual blight that would have a negative impact on the scenic mountain views of this corridor.
To the Planning Commission tonight, the recommendation is to adopt the resolution that's included in their package, which has the condition to put the power lines underground, but removes the requirement to put it within a utilidor. At the last meeting in July, they had proposed a condition to put it within a utilidor, but staff's recommendation to them is to just leave it at a condition to put it underground along the proposed route.
Wasilla Mayor Vern Rupright says MEA appears to be untractable and set on building overhead power lines right up the park's highway.
You're trying to do the public good, and something like MEA is highly regulated because we all know historically from the trust busting era that when you give somebody a license to a public utility, you're literally giving them a monopoly. With monopoly comes an awful lot of responsibility.
Brown says MEA has looked at 9 different routes since the inception of the project, and ultimately, the proposed route was the most feasible. Mayor Rupright says the route along the railroad and out of public view was feasible. So why not build the power lines underground and out of view?
It's a $41 million project when the above ground route is about $9.75 million. That is a $30+ plus $1 million additional cost for all of our members, or we're actually going to go to the RCA and request that those charges be applied within the city.
Brown says utility companies in the lower 48 don't usually build underground power lines, but Wasilla is not the lower 48, and city staff say the route just doesn't protect its scenic vistas. Michelle White, Your Alaska Link, the Mat-Su Valley.
Well, MEA says it plans to appeal the Wasilla Planning Commission's decision. Its appeal would go to a neutral hearing officer appointed by the mayor. Well, Alaska education officials have released the first school ratings calculated under the state's new accountability system for public schools. The ratings follow the Obama administration's May approval of Alaska's request for a waiver from provisions of the federal education law No Child Left Behind. Alaska is among 40 states in the District of Columbia to receive approval of waiver requests. Under the waivers, states can avoid certain requirements such as all students showing proficiency in English and math by 2014 if other conditions are met, and those conditions include states imposing their own standards to prepare students for college and careers and setting evaluation standards for teachers and principals. Alaska's new accountability system ranks schools between a high of 5 stars and a low of 1 star. 52 of the 503 rated schools earned 5 stars. Schools with lower ratings will be asked to come up with a plan.
And that's something that's locally produced based on their individual needs. It's not a one-size-fit-all, and the schools aren't being marched through some system of consequences that increases each year, which was the case under the old system.
Well, nearly 92% of students attended schools in 2012 through 2013 earned 3 stars or above. Well, it's time to sharpen pencils and fill up backpacks. Yes, another school year is upon us, and for thousands of kids preparing to return to the classroom, one annual event helps make life a little easier for some parents. Fox 4's Victoria Taylor reports.
Oh, that looks really nice. Do you like that?
Saying goodbye to summer and going back to school can be difficult, but it doesn't have to be. Seems like the stress is gone. It's a huge relief. Lynette Cotner is a mother of 4. All of her children are in elementary school, and if there's one thing she knows, it's how to get ready to go back to school.
That's pretty cool. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, so we have our 4 backpacks.
She also knows stocking up on school supplies can be expensive, which is why she's at this Hugs event. It's called Helping Us Give School Supplies, but it's really a one-stop shop.
We're getting the Anchorage School District children prepared for school next week. We have all type of school supplies, jackets, hats, winter gear, just to get everyone excited about going to school.
Thousands of families like Lynette's lined up outside the Sullivan Arena. It's pretty obvious this shopping spree makes getting to class a lot easier. Specifically, when elementary students in the Anchorage School District are required to keep an extra pair of shoes at school.
We'll be able to use the money we would have spent on school supplies to go get those extra pairs of shoes, and it won't hurt us.
Eliminating the anxiety and making it easier to shoot to the top of the class. Victoria Taylor, your Alaska Link.
Now, over 50 volunteers helped organize supplies Monday for the 13th annual Hugs event, benefiting over 5,000 families. And we have John Thompson in the studio with us now. Are you ready for school?
You know what? Now that I'm out of school, I'm totally ready for school. But you remember, like, mid-July, you used to hate seeing those back-to-school sales? And
I actually like back to school.
Well, you
I like the smell of school supplies in the morning.
School supplies in the morning. Whitney L.B. Miller. Well, one thing back to school means football season all weekend long. We had it going down. Coming up right after the news here, we got AKSN 1st and 10, Little South versus East. We'll show you the highlights from that game, as well as that was the only conference game this weekend. We're going to talk as well with Danny Martin of the Fairbanks Daily News Miner. Look at that fumble return for a touchdown. Is that not phenomenal?
No, it is awesome. I love football.
All right, very good. Well, you should stick around then.
I will. I'll actually watch next and come back and we'll tell you what you can expect this week. Well, take out the planner and start jotting down these upcoming events. Tomorrow, Sam's Club will be honoring veterans with a flag ceremony. The ceremony is to dedicate the newly relocated club in Anchorage that will open September 5th. Men and women from the Armed Services, YMCA, and Anchorage VFW Post 10252 will help move the flag to the new Sam's located on Muldoon Road. The ceremony will begin Monday morning at 9:30 a.m. And if classical music is your thing, you may want to check out Jari Piper, the 2013 winner of the Anchorage Festival of Music Young Alaskan Award. He will be performing Tuesday, August 20th at 7:30 p.m. at the Our Lady of Guadalupe Church. Alaskan pianist and program director Juliana Osenchuk will accompany Piper. And of course, school starts back this week. The first day for students grades 2 through 12 is Wednesday, August 21st. Preschoolers, kindergartners, and first graders start back the following Wednesday, the 28th. You can log on to the Anchorage School District's website for a detailed calendar to keep updated on parent-teacher conferences, testing days, and other important dates. Well, that is all the time we have. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thank you so much for watching. Sports is up next.